I think one of the many things that we don't talk about in our society is when you are getting all the things you want, when you are leveling up in life and just growing, the parts of yourself that you end up grieving. It's like a simultaneous period of death and rebirth, and it is such a crazy thing to experience. When you are moving to that next place and you're in that in between space of who you are becoming, it's like you don't know exactly who you are yet, but you know for sure who you're not anymore. It can feel quite lonely and bring upon this feeling of, feeling quite lost and very confused. It's because this new person, this new you, has not been fully developed yet. You have not completely transformed, but you have shed those patterns of the old ways of thinking, the old ways of being, and the expectations that you once had for yourself. You can also feel like you're losing people when in reality, you're just really outgrowing them. You're outgrowing certain mindsets and habits, and that can leave you feeling like, who am I? What is going on? What's the next step? And have you with all these unleft or just unanswered questions. It can be such a scary point to reach on your healing or your spiritual journey. And I believe that's why a lot of people either just completely drop the healing journey or they revert back to their old ways, because it's really, really hard and it's a confusing period. And it's very easy to just stay the same and very easy to go back to your old ways and things like that, where you feel comfort and where you feel the familiarity. You don't know what's going to happen, and it's as if you're free falling with no sight of a safety net. As you continue growing, you'll get more and more of a handle on this period of your life, because as you continue reaching new heights and as you continue having spiritual awakenings, you're going to experience this period often. I know it all too well because I'm currently going through this period as I'm embarking on traveling full time for the first time in my life. So obviously that's going to come with its own trials and tribulations and confusion, as it's something that I've never done before. But it does have me thinking about when I moved out of Louisiana for the first time. That's where I'm from. And all of the things that came with that. Moving out of the state alone with a toddler was quite an experience, and a hard one at that. Emotionally and mentally, I was very, very exhausted in the beginning of that entire experience. But simultaneously, I was having the best years of my life. Talk about such an odd feeling to be had. On one end, I was grieving my friends and my family and the experiences that I was able to have, in my hometown. And then on the other end, I was super excited about the experiences that I was now having and the friends that I was now making, and all of the opportunities that were coming into me in just this whole new way of life. Deep inside, I knew that I needed to get out of my hometown and I needed to experience something new, something more. I needed to finally spread my wings and exit my cocoon. My soul was literally like, I am unhappy here. We need to do something about this, and we need to do it now. So throughout that time, I was learning to slow down and sit with myself and pour more into myself and truthfully and authentically practice what self-care and self-love meant to me. I was able to make new choices and actually start to come up with the ideas and the plans that were ultimately going to change my life forever. Things were changing rapidly, and at some point seemed to be falling apart again to be falling together. And I found myself having a lot of thoughts of like, who I am, where am I going, who is the person that I want to become, what does that person do, what does her life look like, how does she want to feel, most importantly. Ultimately, I got to a point where it was like, I can't live in my head. I can only show up as this person and live my life to the fullest. So once I was able to start letting go and just trusting in God and the universe and myself to be able to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish and to be able to provide everything that I needed, I started to feel so much better. Now, this was one of the hardest parts of the journey, especially for me as a type A person who just loves to be very organized, who loves to have goals, who loves to have plans, and yada, 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 yada. So letting go of control was super, super hard for me. But one of the things that I also learned is that when you're someone who needs to have complete control of things, that is coming from a place of lack. That is coming from a scarcity mindset. And I was definitely afraid of letting go so much that everything would fall apart. I felt like I needed to be in control of every aspect of my life in order for things to run smoothly. Not being in control equated to chaos in my world. But what's that famous saying? God laughs at your plans, and that is completely true. You can make all the plans in the world, but once you release the control on your life and start to open up more space, you leave yourself with all of this space for God and the universe and your ancestors, whoever you believe in, to grant you things that are bigger than you could have ever imagined. A lot of the times we imagine things from our point of view, from our life, and it can be really small. You could be wishing for $1,000 when in reality God in the universe is like, no, you're somebody who deserves millions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? So really being able to open up that space and being like, okay, I do want these things, but the journey there, the path there can look any kind of way. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know in the end, I am going to have these things. Now it's up to God in the universe and for me to open myself up to allowing to receive these things however they may come, because I can be surprised with even more, and the journey could be even more fun than I ever expected it to be. I didn't realize it then, but as I go through that same lesson, I am realizing I'm letting go of survival mode and I'm leaning more into actually thriving and living my life. I am leaning more into ease and into rest. I am trusting in divine timing and not feeling like I have to be working every minute of every day in order to get the things that I need and the things that I desire. I am learning that the real work is in caring more about the way that I feel rather than the way that things look. I am learning that working on my energy and cultivating more happy moments and putting myself first is as equally important as my day-to-day responsibilities and the work that I have to do. Now, I'm not just saying to throw away everything and the things that it takes to sustain your lifestyle, but to slow down and to become more intentional. Really evaluate what in your life is making you unhappy and slowly but surely letting go of it. The people, the places, the things, all of it. When we hold on to these things, we're essentially telling ourselves that more is not coming. So to take what is given to you or take less than what you really deserve. All of that is typically coming from a place of lack and a place of a scarcity mindset, a place of survival and not a place of thriving and abundance. The shift from survival mode to actually living a life you love is easier said than done, but with practice and trusting in yourself and God, it definitely becomes easier and easier until it's second nature to you. A good place to start, at least for me, was listening to Abraham Hicks' messages and rampages and also journaling every single morning until they became a habit. The journaling helped me to see what kind of things I was telling myself that I hadn't really been paying attention to, the beliefs that I had come to know. Abraham Hicks taught me how to rewire those beliefs because, as she says, a belief is a thought that you constantly think. Working on your mindset is super, super important. I'll give you an example. There are people that we presume have nothing, and you see them spreading positivity, smiling, feeling good about themselves, feeling content with their life. They're happy, right? And then we see those people that we presume have everything, especially with famous people, the cars, the clothes, the money, being able to take all of the trips and this and that. And a lot of them end up depressed, or they hate their lives, or they're just miserable. That's all because of mindset. As you shift, have patience and show yourself grace. It took years for you to get into survival mode, so it's going to take time to fully shift out of it. Remember that the journey is just important as the destination, and try your best. Try your very best to enjoy every single moment of it. So, I want to end this video by saying that I'm very thankful that you have watched it all the way to the end, especially for my very first video back onto YouTube where I'm talking. It took me quite some time to get to this point to want to talk in front of a camera again. So I'm very, very grateful for your support and for you watching this all the way through. I also want to tell whoever's watching this that you are very loved, and I am very, very proud of you. You are worthy of the life that you desire, and whatever you want wants you more. God and the universe never leave you without options, and they are always conspiring to give you the best of everything. With that said, I'm going to end the video here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.